Hi there, I'm Suk Day, Chartered Accountant and MBA. IFRS are the backbone of financial reporting. What I'm hoping to achieve in my tutorials is to make the IFRS understandable and hopefully enable students to answer questions set on IFRS in professional accounting exams. In this tutorial, I will discuss IFRS8 operating segments. The core principle underlying this particular IFRS is to enable users of financial statements to evaluate the nature and financial effect of the business segments in which an entity engages. So first, I will review the key principles of IFRS 8, recognition and measurement. Then we'll look at the implementation of IFRS 8 in the financial statements of a PLC company. And finally, we'll look at a typical exam question. Let's look at some of the key principles regarding recognition and measurement. PLC companies in the UK are required to provide a segment report based on its operating or business segments. An operating segment is a cash-generating unit, CGU, with its own capital base and generating revenue and costs. It is very similar to an investment center that we are familiar in management accounting. An operating segment becomes a reportable segment if any of the following quantitative thresholds are met. The segment revenue is greater than 10% of total revenue. The segment profits is greater than 10% of total profits. And segment assets are greater than 10% of total assets. And if total reported segment revenue is not greater than 75% of total revenue, additional segments are required to be disclosed. Continuing with measurement, IFRS 8 normally requires all entities to give details of revenue, profit and loss, segment assets and liabilities, both by product type, stroke service type and geographical area, provided the cost of obtaining such information is not prohibitive. If revenue from transactions with a single external customer amounts to 10% or more of an entity's revenue, that entity shall disclose that fact. General points. There can be differences in PLCs reporting segmental analysis, as IFRS compliance in the UK is principle-based. You either comply with it or explain why you haven't complied with it. Example, if one company provides geographical segment analysis only and another provides product segment analysis only, divergence is okay if that is how performance is evaluated in that organization. IFRS 8 refers to the chief operating decision maker, usually the CEO or the board of directors, as the person who classifies the business units in an entity for the purpose of reviewing performance of an entity. This is important, as we said earlier, is as there can be differences between entities in complying with IFRS 8. We're going to look at a group called BHP Group, and its business model is to extract and market natural resources. Shown here is a form of segment reporting for this group, and as we said earlier, the purpose of segmental analysis is to evaluate the financial performance of the operating business or segments by the chief decision maker, and usually is or the board of directors. When you look at BHP's business units, you'll find that they have 3: copper, iron ore and coal. In 2022, there is a section called unallocated items, and this represents the petroleum segment, which was discontinued in 2022. It also includes net interest costs, which has not been allocated to the respective business units. What they have provided in the segmental analysis is, for these various business units, is revenue, profit, assets and liabilities, and using this information, it will be possible to make some kind of financial performance evaluation. Now, students will note that the coal segment exceeds the other segments in financial performance, 62% and 83% with respect to profit before interest as a percentage of revenue and the return on capital employed. But interestingly, it also has the lowest percentage of total assets, which is 12%. Now, this could be due to a reluctance to invest in coal, as it has got the highest CO2 emissions and is the biggest polluter. Another aspect of segmental analysis is to provide some segmental analysis regarding by revenue by geography. Now, this classification by geography also serves as a proxy for its customer base, and students will know that China is PHP Group's biggest customer, representing over or generating over £36 million in revenue. In the following slide, we will look at a typical exam question on IFRS8. It is usually a written question testing the student's knowledge of the quantitative thresholds for segment reporting, or providing an explanation why two companies in the same sector can have differences in segment reporting. What should do is to attempt the question set and then check with the answer provided. Use the pause button after reading the question and continue once you have formulated an answer.